Hi, I'm Andy. I'm just going to pick up where Ian left off in the syllabus description. I want to talk about developing a proper mindset for this course. First and foremost, this course is going to present a lot of views that may make you somewhat uncomfortable. There may be some views about sport that you haven't thought about in the past. Just because these views make us uncomfortable, or because we haven't thought about them a lot, or we don't hear them in the popular media narratives we see about sport, doesn't mean that these ideas don't need to be discussed. They're actually quite important, and unfortunately, I think they're often quite neglected in our discussions about sport. So part of it, this class, is becoming comfortable with those ideas that might make you uncomfortable at first. I think it's important to know how to express yourself when you are uncomfortable with an idea that's brought up during class. Oftentimes, instead of simply blurting out your initial response, your gut reaction to an idea that makes you uncomfortable, it might be better to just write down those ideas, to let them simmer for a little bit and give yourself time to reflect on why you might feel that way. As a general rule in this class, we will want to let certain marginalized ideas come to the surface. As I said earlier, if you watch SportsCenter, for instance, you're probably not seeing a lot of discourse about Title IX. You're not seeing a lot of talk about racial discrimination in sport. There's a lot of really touchy issues in sport that are very glossed over by the common media narratives that we see, and these issues are marginalized. We don't talk about them. So we are going to try to bring these ideas, and when they do come up, we are going to give precedence to them. We are going to talk about them. We're not going to push them out of the way and say, oh, we're not going to talk about that. That's too controversial, or that's just a lunatic idea. Our job is to bring those marginalized ideas to the forefront so that we can address them. The last thing I'd like to say is this course is a very conversational nature. Um, a lot of it's based on our interpretation of what the class needs, how the class is progressing. We do have a schedule, but I do want to reinforce that this schedule is quite flexible. However, we are not going to change the dates of major exams. So major exam dates will not change, and major assignment dates, such as the term paper, those dates will not change. However, what we talk about on given days, that can change quite a bit. And I think you have to develop a slightly different mindset for this class. It's not a very top-down course where we as the instructor say, you're going to learn the material on page 187 to page 212, then you're going to take a test. And then the next day we're going to move to that. Sometimes we might take 3 class periods to talk about something we had only planned for 1. We try to make this a little bit more improvisational. We're trying to play off what you need as a class and what direction the class is going in. When it comes to our expectations of you as a student, there's sort of 4 main areas we'd like to focus on. The first is what I like to call the triangle of engagement. Are you engaging with the content of the course, the instructors, and your peers? If you do that, you will be successful in this course. The second is finding a personal purpose. So finding ways to tie this content back to certain elements of your life or certain things that you anticipate to use in your career. If you do that, it really helps you to integrate this knowledge into what you already know and make it useful. The third is what I like to call alignment. We're not necessarily looking for every student to achieve a 4-point in this class. You have to be honest about what your goals are. What can you actually achieve in this course? Maybe you have a very busy semester and it's just not in the cards to get a 4-point. That's fine. It's up to you. What we look for you to do is to align the amount of effort with your expectations for the course. So if you're expecting to get a 4-point, that means a lot of effort on your part. And the last little bit of this is etiquette, and I think this goes without saying, but especially in this class when ideas can get a little bit controversial and sometimes opinions can get somewhat heated, we do want to maintain a respectful and understanding and open-minded environment when we're working with the other members of the class. I want to explain MSU's policy regarding mandatory reporting for instructors and MSU employees. As employees of the university, we are expected to report any instances where we become aware of an instance of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, or other types of criminal activities. This is a recent change to MSU policies, and I think it's for the better. However, the reason we bring this up is that occasionally, a course like this, when we talk about controversial issues, occasionally some of these issues may touch a nerve, and you might be writing about something in a paper and you disclose something to us that might be of a very personal nature. Um, God forbid, for instance, there have been instances where someone writes about an experience of a coach sexually harassing them. And if, for instance, we become aware of something like that, we are mandated to report that to the proper officials. All right, last thing. The Course Hub is in the public domain, this WordPress site. Public domain, that means anybody can see it. If you make a comment, you should be aware that anyone can see it, and our expectation is that the comment will be of a professional nature. There are some guidelines that you should follow, and if your comments do meet any of these three criteria, this could be reason for us to address it with you. It might even mean that there could be some serious repercussions for your future in the course, so please abide by these three guidelines. The first thing is that your comments should not be slanderous, they should not be threatening, and they should not be demeaning in any way, shape, or form. The second is that they shouldn't contain private or sensitive information, and that could be either about yourself or another person or entity. And finally, I think this goes without saying, but you should not make a comment that contains links to copyrighted or illicit material. Please abide by these. I don't think we're going to have a problem with it, but I feel it necessary to say it just in case, because violating these principles could have serious repercussions for your future in the class and also for our own academic integrity as instructors. So I ask you to respect that for not only yourself, but for us as well.